when thousands of Nigerians died in their hospital beds due to lack of electricity or lack of medicine. It is a crime. They are responsible for these sanctions. They are responsible for these deaths. The same thing is happening in Mali. With Burkina, we have indirect sanctions because people need to understand. When they understand, there are instructions from the other side. They come, they do everything to apply it. It's shameful. Some have decided not to supply electricity to our countries. It's not free, we pay for it. And it contributes to their economy. They tried.
Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.
To make Mali suffer. And of course, by ignoring all the agreements and no longer providing electricity to Mali, hoping that the population would revolt. It doesn't work. When it lasted, some were forced to make their own people pay by increasing the cost of electricity. It will increase again. This gives us several lessons. Several lessons in the sense that the independence we take, the sovereignty we take, we must do everything to ensure it. They have given us very good lessons, and we have understood them very well.
Africa's volatile West region is about to blow up. As we speak, troops are being assembled at the borders between Nigeria and Niger. But this invasion hasn't started yet. It will if ECOWAS takes matters into their own hands. This could very well be the tipping point of West African diplomacy. Now, it all began when ECOWAS gave the junta in Niger an ultimatum to reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum or face military intervention. When the deadline passed, without the unconditional surrender of the junta, ECOWAS decided to assemble an intervention force. Now they are threatening to invade Niger. But just before that, 3 more countries have thrown their weight behind the junta. The governments of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea have declared their support for the new military regime in power. Mali and Burkina Faso had previously closed their borders with neighboring countries that supported the ECOWAS sanctions. In response to this declaration, ECOWAS decided to postpone the military intervention to determine the best strategy to use. So it looks like ECOWAS will soon invade Niger. But it won't be easy. Here are 10 things you need to know. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe. Like this video, comment and share it with friends and family so that they can also know what's going on in this part of the world. No. 1. The Traoré Alliance. Things are getting heated up because the junta leader has reached out to his allies for support. A delegation from the alliance led by Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister Olivier Ruamba arrived in Niamey on his 25th. They were met by the junta leader General Abdurrahmane Chiani. According to reports, the two leaders discussed the political situation in the country and the means of strengthening bilateral cooperation. Another delegation from Mali led by Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop arrived in Niger on August 26th. He held talks with General Chani and reaffirmed Mali's support for the new regime. Guinea's foreign policy is expected to follow suit as well. With these three additional countries now supporting Niger's new regime, it is clear that the junta is not isolated diplomatically as was initially thought, and this support has emboldened them to reject any calls for negotiations until the sanctions imposed by ECOWAS are lifted. Number 2. Unveiling the Traoré Alliance. The Traoré Alliance is a military alliance formed by 3 West African countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. The alliance was formed in May 2022 following a meeting between the heads of state of the 3 countries in the Malian capital, Bamako. The main objective of the alliance is to coordinate military operations against jihadist groups operating in the region. However, many see the alliance as a way for the 3 countries to resist increasing pressure from ECOWAS to return to civilian rule. All 3 countries have faced international condemnation and sanctions after their respective coups d'etat. The alliance has been named its most senior member, Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of the military junta in Burkina Faso. The alliance is primarily an anti-jihad coalition, but it has also become a platform for the 3 countries to resist Western influence. Number 3. Breaking down the ECOWAS sanctions. ECOWAS has imposed a series of economic and financial sanctions on the junta since it came to power. These sanctions include closing the borders between Niger and other ECOWAS member states, suspending Niger from all ECOWAS activities, imposing a travel ban on members of the junta and their families, and freezing the assets of the junta and its supporters. In addition, ECOWAS has also demanded the resignation of the junta leader and the restoration of constitutional order in the country. Now, these sanctions are intended to put pressure on the junta to relinquish power and restore constitutional rule. However, it remains to be seen whether these sanctions will be effective. The sanctions have already had a significant impact on Niger's economy. The country is landlocked and heavily dependent on trade with its neighbors. The closure of the borders has cut off Niger's access to vital goods and services. Additionally, the suspension from ECOWAS activities has deprived Niger of important financial resources. Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world, and the sanctions have only made the situation worse. Number 4. The Sahel Showdown. The standoff between ECOWAS and the junta in Niger is escalating, and the situation is becoming increasingly volatile. If ECOWAS takes military action against the junta, it will likely lead to a full-blown crisis in the region. This crisis will not only affect the people of Niger, but will also have far-reaching implications for the entire Sahel region. The first implication will be the destabilization of the region. The Sahel region is already one of the most volatile regions in the world. The presence of extremist groups and the ongoing struggle against them has made the region very unstable. A full-blown crisis in Niger will only serve to destabilize the region even further. It will also lead to a proliferation of small arms and light weapons. In any conflict, there is always a risk that weapons will fall into the wrong hands. This is especially true in a region where there is already a high level of insecurity. The influx of weapons will only serve to make the region more dangerous. Furthermore, the crisis will also lead to a humanitarian crisis. The people of Niger are already suffering from poverty and food insecurity. The ongoing sanctions have only made the situation worse. A full-blown crisis will likely result in a mass exodus of refugees fleeing to neighboring countries. Number 5. Alliance of Sahel States. The political tension in the Sahel region is rising after 3 countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, announced the formation of a new alliance. The alliance, which aims to promote peace and stability in the region, has raised concerns among some West African leaders who see it as a threat to regional stability. The alliance, known as the Alliance of Sahel States, was formed in response to what the 3 countries see as a common threat from jihadist groups operating in the region. Mali and Burkina Faso have been particularly affected by the violence, which has claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions. The alliance has been welcomed by some as a necessary step to counter the growing threat of extremism in the Sahel. However, Others have expressed concern that it could be used to justify further military coups in the region. There are fears that the alliance could become a tool for the three countries to pursue their own interests and could lead to instability in the region. Some critics argue that the alliance is a way for the three countries to avoid sanctions from the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, which has threatened military action against the juntas in Mali and Burkina Faso. Despite the concerns, the three countries remain committed to the alliance. They have vowed to defend each other if attacked and have called for dialogue to resolve the political crisis in the region. The formation of the alliance has raised tensions between the three countries and ECOWAS, which has threatened military action against the junta in Niger if it does not restore constitutional rule. ECOWAS has accused the three countries of supporting the junta and has imposed sanctions, including closing the borders between Niger and other ECOWAS member states and suspending Niger from all ECOWAS activities. Number 6. What's next after ECOWAS threatens military action? The next move by ECOWAS will likely be the target of international condemnation and perhaps even sanctions. This is because ECOWAS has threatened to take military action against the junta in Niger, which has been met with mixed reactions from the international community. Some countries, such as France and the United States, have supported ECOWAS's efforts to restore constitutional rule in Niger. However, other countries, such as Russia and China, have called for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. If ECOWAS goes ahead with the military action despite international condemnation, it could lead to a diplomatic fallout with some countries. This could result in the withdrawal of foreign aid and investment, making it more difficult for ECOWAS members to address the root causes of the crisis, such as poverty and inequality. It could also lead to increased tensions between ECOWAS and the African Union, which has called for dialogue and reconciliation in Niger. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to take military action is a difficult one for ECOWAS. On one hand, they have a responsibility to uphold democracy and good governance in the region. On the other hand, they also have to consider the potential consequences of their actions. Number 7. What is the stake in Niger? The stakes in Niger are high. Niger is a strategically important country located in the heart of the Sahel region. It has vast reserves of uranium and gold, making it an attractive destination for foreign investment. Additionally, Niger is home to a large number of refugees from neighboring countries such as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. The instability in the country has raised concerns about the safety and security of these refugees, as well as the potential for cross-border conflicts. Moreover, the situation in Niger has also highlighted the broader challenges facing the Sahel region. The Sahel is one of the poorest regions in the world and is plagued by poverty, inequality, and climate change. The instability in Niger is just one example of the challenges that the region faces. Number 8. We can't be silent. As concerned citizens, it is crucial that we don't remain silent in the face of injustice and oppression. We must use our voices to speak out against the junta's actions and demand the restoration of democracy in Niger. One way we can do this is by signing petitions and writing to our elected officials urging them to take action. Additionally, we can support organizations that are working to promote democracy and human rights in Niger. By donating to these organizations, we can help them carry out their important work and make a positive impact. Furthermore, we can also use social media to raise awareness about the situation in Niger and mobilize others to take action. By sharing information and stories from Niger, we can help to put pressure on the junta and encourage them to restore democracy. Finally, we must remain informed about the situation in Niger and stay up to date on the latest developments. By staying informed, we can better understand the situation and make more effective contributions to the effort to restore democracy. 9. Closing the borders. The junta's decision to close the borders with neighboring countries has had a significant impact on the region. This has resulted in the interruption of trade and the flow of essential goods and services. For example, the closure of the border between Niger and Nigeria has led to shortages of food and other essential items in Nigeria. Additionally, the closure of the borders has also restricted the movement of people, which has made it difficult for families to reunite and for businesses to operate. The closure has also had a negative impact on the economies of the region. The interruption of trade has led to job losses and reduced economic activity. For example, the closure of the border between Niger and Algeria has hurt the many traders who rely on the border markets for their livelihoods. Number 10. The last straw. The last straw was when the junta leader refused to meet with a delegation from ECOWAS. The delegation, which was led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, was supposed to deliver a message from ECOWAS to the junta leader. But the junta leader refused to meet with them, citing a busy schedule. This was seen as a major snub to ECOWAS, and it basically left the organization with no choice but to take military action. ECOWAS had already given the junta an ultimatum to restore constitutional rule or face military intervention. But the junta leader's refusal to even meet with ECOWAS delegation was seen as a major sign of disrespect, and it basically left the organization with no choice but to take military action. So here's the deal. If you want to see more interesting videos like this one, please hit the like button, comment, share this video with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates. See you next time.
Thank you for watching African Spotlight 24, where we bring you Africa's stories as they happen when they matter most. If you found value in today's coverage, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from across the continent. We're here to inform, inspire, and amplify the voice of Africa, and we're just getting started. Until next time, stay informed, stay proud, and stay with African Spotlight 24, where Africa tells its story.